Well, we all want to know, who am I really? It's kind of a perennial question. You have to wonder who asks and who answers. And it's not just finding a better version of our ego, like the next best reinvention of myself or of yourself. It's really taking the time to look deeply within in what could only be described as the silence. A lot of the people that come here to the fire, that sit with me here, they're successful by any measure. They've achieved certain benchmarks in their lives, certain accomplishments, and they would call themselves successful, yet there's still something that's niggling, calling, um, and unsettling. And by the time they come here, and by the time we're talking, we both know that there's something they're reaching for, and there's something they want more of in their lives. It feels authentic and real. And the first place to look is within themselves. You know, am I being authentically expressed? In our culture, we're conditioned. We are indoctrinated through school and church and family and friends and the constructs of our culture to behave a certain way, to look a certain way, to show up a certain way, to have a certain education and achieve the job success that anyone would want or aspire to. And then still there's something more. And oftentimes it's about stepping outside convention, outside the norms, and being willing to challenge what's accepted, both within yourself and within your life, in your culture. And it doesn't mean blow up your life. It just means being willing to question. Question your faith. Question your God. Question the rules that you've been given. And in many ways, knowing which rules to break and which ones you can't. And finding your own voice. It's about finding your voice, the voice that speaks to you in the quiet moments, and familiarizing yourself with that voice. You know, I can only speak from my own experience truly about how it occurred for me when I asked the question, who am I? I want to know. And why am I here? I want to know. And it was with a passion, with a fire that burned in my belly. I wanted to know, and I wanted to know who sent me here, who or what. I wanted to have a direct experience of that, not simply what I was taught, told, or given, like so many of us are taught, told, and given what to believe. So to ask, who am I, is to imply that you don't know. But the truth is, we do know. And the challenge is to rediscover that knowing. It's a remembering. It's a recollection. It's a reclaiming of our sacred self. You know what actually happens when someone comes to sit at the fire is everyone recognizes a good fire. Everyone recognizes the feeling of being in nature. Let's say most people. I actually know some folks in the city that when they come into nature, they feel a little bit afraid. You know, we're in nature. But most people, when you come onto the earth, when you come onto the rock, and in the trees and in the woods here, there's a feeling of having come home. And when we step into a circle like this, and there's a fire, and we open with a ceremony, ritual. You know, we're wired for ritual, so ritual really helps us to ground, whether it's through our breath, a short and simple meditation, just to bring us present and to feel connected, feet on the ground, connected to earth and sky, connected to one another, trusting the space. What happens for people is they let down. It's just like they open, and it happens just about every time. It's a count-onable reaction, a countable result. And when we come together in peace, in safety, in trust of one another, even if we don't know each other that well, what invariably happens is you begin to open and you start to speak the simple truths, what's really going on, what you're really struggling with. And lo and behold, it's what's happening for each one. We're all struggling with something. We're all challenged by certain things in our lives. And so to be able to tell the truth about that, it creates, of itself, it creates an opening. And these openings that we create for ourselves are always big enough for us to step through and to step into. In many ways, it's nothing short of a spiritual experience. I know that word gets bandied about a lot, and it can be a trigger for some people, the same as the word God. But what else are we talking about, even if we didn't use those terms? We're talking about what's real and true, what lives at the center of who we are and who you are, and what matters to you in your life, what matters to you in terms of your well-being and your love and your passion and your joy, and to be able to connect with those qualities, those values. Sometimes they can be difficult to find, and sometimes they're right there. To remember who you are sounds really abstract. Even in my own ears, it sounds abstract. But the beauty in that statement, to remember who you are, is to remember your essential nature. It's to peel back the layers of your persona and your presentation and the facade, your act, the racket that you run on yourself and others. We all have got one of those. Your defenses, my defenses. To be able to let our defenses down, peel back the layers for ourselves, not for anybody else, and catch a glimpse of who we really are at our core. And sometimes we need a little help with that. I hope this conversation has been helpful. And there's certainly more to go. We're just poking around here, looking for what's real and true for you, for me, and that's the dialogue, that's the deep conversation. So in the meantime, stay close to the fire, and I'll see you next time. Adios.